You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. Elliot.
Hello.
Dwayne.
Hey.
Niall.
Ahoy hoy.
And me, Brian. This week's episode 28, Highway Star Part 1. In which is pretty much half of it is dedicated to the end of last week's episode.
Highway Star Part 2/3.
Yeah.
To the point where there's a to be continued in the middle of the episode.
Like JoJo will return right now.
That really confused me because I was like, wait, no, I'm halfway done. What is this? Give me the episode.
Okay, so yeah, we pick up where we left off, playing dice with Rohan and Josuke. Guys, anyone else want to say anything?
Yes. Sorry, I was taking a swig of beer. Sorry. Yeah. Rohan is obviously at this juncture quite suspicious of that Josuke is cheating. And Josuke goes to roll the dice again, and he thinks, okay, alien dude, you must have caught on by now. You must get the idea that you don't want to you want to cheat, but don't cheat too good. So just give me a roll here. All sixes again. And I was like, oh, he does not get what I'm going for. But Rohan is actually quite care about this. It's like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Actually,
he's thinking like, if you were cheating, you wouldn't have rolled like 3 6s in a row. That's crazy.
It's quite calm now. Yeah. But prior to then, he was like, when we saw the roll, he was like, don't touch those dice. And calmly slide the ball away. He examines them. He's okay. I don't know how you're doing it. I know you're cheating. But when 3 6s like come up again, he's like, oh, well, I guess this happens. These things just happen, huh? And I have a good laugh about this for quite a few seconds.
Well, until he stabs himself.
Yes.
Stabs his pinky finger. Yeah.
Yeah. With this, it's in some kind of weird gambit to somehow prevent Josuke from forfeiting the game. Because he's called in a middleman. It's a guy you haven't seen in a while. It's Tamami, a.k.a. the guy with the lock stand.
It's like, hey guys, I've been in hospital for a while for some reason. I've actually forgotten why he went to hospital. He's been there for so long.
Yeah. As did he, I think. He's like, I don't know why I was in hospital, but I was. I'm back. Hi. It's like, what? What are you doing?
He's as confused as me. Yeah, and Rohan's made the rules a little more complicated because of the nature of the lock stand. So is it that he bets Josuke 3 million yen if Josuke isn't cheating and wins, he wins that, and if he isn't cheating and wins, he'll pay him that to fix his finger?
It's because
there's a lot of rules.
So around what's his face, manga artist dude,
Rohan.
Rohan, sorry, geez, why did I forget? But Rohan says, no, I know you're cheating. You have to be. If I can't figure it out at the end of this next round,
that was it. Yeah,
you win 2 million yen, and I will have my pinky be deformed as a forever memento of this bullshit. And there was some other thing I forget. It was really lopsided and took far too long to explain.
Basically, I think it is as you said, but they call him Tamami with the condition that obviously if Josuke is cheating, so we're trying to prove that. But if he decides to just not cheat, he'll be lying. So the lock will
catch him,
lock onto him, and then then he'll be busted. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yes, you have to kind of cheat very, very well so Rohan won't spot it, and ergo win the bet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Also during this, Rohan thinks the dice are staring at him, and he goes to inspect them with a magnifying glass.
And we see like the 2 side has 2 little eyeballs just freaking out.
But that magnifying glass is important for later.
Yes. And
Like a
Tamami is
Chekhov's
really
gun.
into this too. I guess being the local street tough, he
likes gambling and shit.
He seems to kind of he seems like he's going through his rigmarole and naming his rate as well. He's obviously done this kind of thing before.
Yeah,
no,
because
isn't that his job now? Yeah, he works for like gambling debt collector kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what happens, he gets 400,000 yen. Or
20%.
Yeah,
bigger.
Whichever's bigger. That was the best bit. He's like, oh, whatever makes you more money. It's like, wow, you're a little shit, aren't you?
He's got to have his contract, so that's what the rules say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, does he get 20% of Rohan's finger? I mean, like, how much is that worth? He's a manga artist, and therefore his fingers are worth quite a bit.
Yeah, put that on eBay. He's like, I got this guy's finger.
You want to find a buyer. Actually, you'd have someone in this town who might buy it.
Makes a lovely keychain.
Makes a nice memento. But yeah, so I think they, after that confusing bit, they kind of start to roll dice again. And I think it's Rohan who goes first. And he kind of spends a long time shaking the dice and eventually rolls a 4. He gets 2 3s and a 4. So that's like a normal payout. So that's like nothing too shocking.
It's not loser hand, basically. Yeah.
But no, it's not haha you suck hand. It's oh you're fine. And Tamami's like oh weird. It's a good roll. Okay, no matter what. And then Josuke gets the dice and he looks at the dice like staring at them to try and will them not to be dumb. And one of the dice throws up out of one of the holes
because they've been shaken too much. Yeah.
And he's like oh no, he's getting a bit nauseous. What's going on here? And then I quite like this bit because I didn't notice it until too late, but you start hearing sirens in the background, quite far off, but sirens. So Josuke's trying to puzzle out the whole thing and try not to get himself found out because he knows he's in way too deep now and he can't escape. And like he's notices that the sirens are getting louder. Meanwhile, manga artist, I forgot his name again. Rohan, thank you. But Rohan's getting more and more annoyed and saying, "Come on, get on with it, you jerk." Or more rougher things than that. And then suddenly they all like Josuke realizes, oh yeah, sirens. The alien doesn't like those. And the dice start breaking out in hives and getting all weird and gross.
And Rohan's freaking out. It's like, hey, don't you hide those dice. I know you're up to some trickery.
Let me see them. Yeah.
But they've only broken out in hives on the side that's facing Josuke, fortunately, for now, even though they're getting louder.
Yeah, so he kind of just dumps the dice in, and I can't remember what the actual result was. I think it was
3
good.
6s again.
Oh yeah, omen. But then it doesn't matter because everyone kind of gets cross-purposed and angry about the whole thing. But then Tamami goes, "Oh shit, Araki." I've forgotten his
you can just call him Araki. It's fine.
Yeah.
We know.
So he says, "Oh shit, your house is on fire," and then cut to
the sirens are coming here.
Yeah, because I did love the shot just before that because the fire engines pull up to the house and it's like, oh my god, he could not have worse luck. And it's like, wait a minute, why would they pull up to the house?
I love it because the dice are flat out like turning into spaghetti at this point, like tagliatelle, and it's like okay, and so like Josuke has to grab the alien and hug it to his chest while Araki is getting pissed off, and then cut to oh these sirens are here because these 3 fire trucks are here because your house is on fire. And so no one really wins. In fact, as the little plaque mentions later, Rohan loses 7 million yen in damages. Josuke no real gains, but now Rohan really friggin' hates him. And that's it. That's the end of that arc. Is no one really wins.
Yeah, but he was willing that the house burned down. He was like, Rohan Sensei, you gotta get out of here. Your house is burned down. Let the firemen do their job. I said, no, I must find out what he's doing. Where is he?
Well, he is the kind of guy who'll chop off his own finger in order to prove a point and also get in a paper, scissors, rock fight with a small child. It's like he's when he gets into something, he's absolutely into it, no matter the loss that he will suffer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it turns out one person does get something out of that, and that is Yoshihiro later on. Because he has driven a wedge. This alien has driven a wedge between Josuke and Rohan.
Yeah, but he is giving out to the Arrow. It's like, dude, seriously? This was your plan? Freaking hell, Arrow. I mean, like...
This is all your fault!
You've made it slightly worse for them, but you haven't really, like attacked anyone or anything, Okay. The next one I do, who I've already picked the name out for, will totally do a better job. It's Highway Go-Go, isn't it?
Highway Star.
Yeah.
Highway Star, but Highway Go-Go
in the subtitle is what I mean, yeah.
Yes, it's kind of like the Avdol of getting to name these stands now.
Yeah. I mean, like, he's just picking them from his mixtapes now that he had when he was alive. Or possibly in the photograph in his pajamas, who knows?
Yeah, maybe he has a boombox in that photo. You never know.
Rappers Alive. That's a good stand name, right? Yeah. Also, Josuke runs into Mizutaka, Mr. Alien Man, and the next day. It's like,
oh, that's right.
Oh,
yeah.
how are you getting on, dude? Oh, sorry about yesterday about everything as well. And then like, no, Mr. Taka, come here. We gotta go do errands around. What's that? No, yes, mother, I'll be right there. Josuke obviously taken aback by this, and he just goes in. I totally brainwashed her to make her believe that I'm her son. Wink.
It's part of my alien cover. So we're still not sure if he's an alien or a stand user. And to be fair, it could be either or both.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Josuke seemed to have decided that he was an alien.
Yeah, Josuke seems to think, it's like, wait, he's definitely an alien, right?
So this threw him off.
I was expecting the mother to like have a face freak out and go all alien-y at some point, just to go like, hey, by the way, here's another alien, ta-da! But no, she appears to be a normal woman. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's just leaves us ambiguous in your mind. Is he just a crazy guy? And the mother also says, you better not be playing pranks on the people in the town again.
Oh, in his last school, they totally fell for his prank and thought he was an alien. Come on, son. It's like, well, I guess if you can morph into things, you would easily fool people into thinking you're an alien.
Yeah, but Josuke's also seen a guy who can stop time. So he must be at least be considering this possibility.
I just assume everyone's a stand user at this stage. I think it's the safest way to be.
Yeah. Well, Inanimate Objects can become stand users, so why not?
Well, I mean, I think even the subtitle has like alien / stand user ? And it's like, God damn it. Like, this isn't helping.
Yeah, if the notes don't know if he's an alien, then how am I supposed to know?
He's actually a ghost.
Oh, don't. We already have one of those. We already have that. And a ghost
exist
dog.
in this world, sure. So
Yeah.
He can be a mutant.
I think by next week we'll have a Tsuchinoko hanging out. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's one of those fake snake things. Great. Just to make it more confusing.
I thought for a moment, when you started talking about a ghost, I thought, have we suddenly started talking about drifters? He's either a ghost or a devil.
Oh, dear.
And then
that was only the first half.
It was, yeah. Second half is this bus trip through a tunnel.
Well, initially an awkward bus trip.
Yes.
That's the best. Just Josuke goes and hides behind one of those hanging straps.
Yeah.
And
ignore Rohan. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rohan's
just
just
like,
like,
dude, I'm fucking right here. I'm your elder. You got to say hello to me. Come on, sit down, motherfucker. I hate you. You know. Yeah.
I just love how much of an absolute unrepentant asshole Rohan is. It's so good.
His house burned down. He's got a right to be a bit annoyed.
Oh, dear.
That's his own fault for being careless with a magnifying glass.
I do love how it just shows the magnifying glass. I'm like, what? What is that? Come on. But yeah, JoJo's.
He's the kind of guy who would have that in his house.
For reference.
I meant more the fact that it caused his house to burn down rather than the fact it was a magnifying glass, but that also works.
Well, be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, he keeps on seeing things on the tunnel wall as they go through this tunnel in the bus. And he's like, Josuke, did you see that? We saw into somebody's house.
It looked like I was looking into a window with a dude chopping off a woman's hand.
Yes.
That sounds like the thing what we've been looking for.
Yes.
Oh, we missed the interstitial bit where it goes back to Kira's house or new Kira's house. And it turns out the little kid is a creeper.
That's what it was showing the security camera in the ceiling the last episode. We were like, what is that about? It's like, yeah, it's the little kid. He's got his parents' room bugged.
And he's like, oh, mother hasn't gotten naked in front of my father in a while. Why has changed her mind? And it's like, okay, this has got weird. Like, way too weird.
This family was already pretty messed up before Kira usurped this guy's identity.
Yeah, now the kid's got like 3 VHS tapes taped together behind a CRT, and he's like evaluating his parents' buggering. It's just like, what?
Oh, dear.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I was wondering how they were going to do that, because from the intro and everything, like that's like the B plot, I guess, kind of going on. Kira's new family, and it's just like, yeah, there's just such weirdness going on there as well. I wasn't sure they were going to be able to keep it up, but the creeper child thing was not something I was anticipating.
No, totally. I'm just like, oh, this kid, he must be in a messed up place because of his dad suddenly like, what? And then like, oh no, he's just as bad, if not worse. Great.
Well, he hasn't chopped off any women's hands that we know of, so
maybe he'll become some sort of enabler, and then it'll be the most horrifying family murder adventure.
Well, you know what's going to be? It's going to be. Have you ever seen the film Face Off or John Travolta?
Oh, totally, of course.
Yeah, And it's like, they swap faces, and the evil criminal takes on John Defoe's identity as a kind of the well-to-do family man, and he's got the teenage daughter who's hanging out with the wrong crowd. And he teaches her how to stab a guy and twist a knife in his leg so he won't heal up very quickly. It's going to be something like that, where Kira's going to connect with the kid through their shared interest in sociopathic activities.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That sounds too plausible. It's kind of scary. You know that, right?
When did Face Off come out?
After this chapter, this predates Face Off. I looked that up a few weeks ago when he swapped the faces in the first place.
Right.
Man,
Yeah.
I wanna see a Nicolas Cage stand user. What kind of stand would Nicolas
Wait, so
Cage
Nicolas
get?
Cage is the stand, or he's the
No,
user?
he's the user, and his
Okay.
stand is whatever the hell it is, like
Yeah.
alimony payments or something.
So he's the user, and the stand is his hair.
Ah. I mean, we already have that, so...
They have that though.
But but
I mean, he could play her in the adaptation that's coming.
that's true. Yes.
Well, you could have fast, punchy guy and one other thing, so you could probably have hair control and one other thing.
Yeah. Or his stand is manifested in his plugs. So maybe he's had the plugs of another stand the hair has been donated from another stand user plugged into his head.
I should not
The
have brought this up.
hair manifests into a fast, punchy guy. There you go.
Yeah, sorted. Then we get another confusing stand as Rohan goes back to investigate, to the point where I felt like I need to rewatch this episode, both for the first half and for the second half, because I'm not entirely
there's
sure
a lot going on, yeah.
I was following what was the stands. All I got by the end is that this stand moves at 60 kilometers per hour.
That's a definite fact you can write down about this stand.
Yes.
The other thing is, it's kind of like Buggy the Clown. It chops itself up into slices.
Yeah, and it always seems to be slices of feet that then
Yeah.
reconstitutes to like
The
tread on
feet
you.
have to run after you or something in the run after you at 60 miles an hour or kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And it
The
can only come
stand
after you
that
if you go
couldn't
into the
slow
room.
down.
It can only come after you, or it'll doggedly come after you, if you go into the room that it makes, which is also part of it. I'm not entirely sure.
I think the room's an illusion that then, I don't know. I think the room is like the bait on the hook that then gets you like sniffed out by the stand, and then it follows you in its weird sliced form.
Like,
and
I
then when
think
it catches up, sorry.
No, it's all right. I was saying it's kind of like the lock in that it has, the rule is you have to go into the room, whereas the lock is you have to feel guilt.
Yeah.
That kind of way. It's one of those weird kind of like, this isn't mainly to do with the stand, this is just how to activate it.
Yeah, it's like a trigger.
Yeah.
And in this case, like the feet come after you, grab onto you, and then stab you, and then use that to absorb your energy. Sorry, your nutrients. Yeah, I love the way you just said nutrients every time. It's like, what are you doing? But yeah, so this is another energy drain stand, which means that like Rohan was like jumping between, I can't do anything because my stand is secretly too powerful, versus then being able to like do something. And so he gets taken captive and put in the room by the stand, Highway Star, and like the stand is like in his back, kind of partially part of him, like combined,
Well,
and
it's
says,
kind of behind him, I guess, and also
Yeah.
inside him.
Yeah, because Josuke's come back because he's like, okay, like I should see if Rohan's okay because he's a prick, but come on. So like he goes back, sees the room, and
He initially sees Rohan's sweet ass motorbike,
buggered
which
up.
has never been a thing before this episode, right?
Yeah.
That's not a thing he's done. But
Yeah,
he sees it fly out of the
He
tunnel.
bought it with the insurance money.
He could have got new furniture, but no, motorbike. Yeah.
priorities.
investment.
Priorities. So,
Why was he
so-
taking the bus if he had a motorbike? There's so many questions.
Oh damn it! Don't do that. But no. So then, Highway Star goads Rohan and says, "Look, I'll let you live if you just call that other dude in here, and I can absorb his nutrients and share for yours." And he has this whole silver tongue thing going on. And then Rohan goes, "Nah, fuck off," and says, "I love nothing more than saying no to strong people." More. And I forget. I think then Josuke decides he's gonna be a jerk anyway and ignore Rohan because he tells him it's a trap, and walks into the room and goes, "I don't care." Ha! And then a dumb fight happens. I forget. I think then Josuke like tries to escape the
Rohan
tunnel.
writes, you will suddenly fly backwards at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, because he gets
so you get away from the
in by Rohan's stand,
Yeah.
but then it stops and gets caught up by salami feet, and that's where it ends. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry.
I think he instructs them like, "Oh, you can't beat the stand. It's too weird and unspecific to attack directly. So just find the stand user who's got to be somewhere in town and
Yeah,
defeat
it's
him
the standard
instead."
thing of we don't understand the rules, so what if we just beat up the guy who's using it?
Makes
Seems
sense.
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
but-
reassembles the bike and just hits the road, try and track this dude down.
Yeah, I really like the effect of Rohan getting absorbed because he goes all translucent in some areas. Like you can see like his musculature and like parts of his skull, especially his teeth. You can see them through his cheek, and it's a bit. It's obviously just done for effect, but it's really cool. I think it's quite effective at showing like, okay, yeah, he's in dire peril now because he's going like inside out almost. So that was quite fun to see.
Yeah,
It's a nice look to it.
It looked kind of gross in the comic. I thought they were just going to kind of stay that way, but I kind of prefer just the Timur kind of just kind of pulses to the translucent effect every once in a while. It feels just some more icky that way, I think.
I think if they went with like a more kind of gross effect with it, then they just have to black out those entire areas, and it would lose the kind of weird kind of effect, the ghostly effect.
Yeah, you're right.
Now you can't like disembowel the guy or peel his skin back to reveal his skin, but it's okay if his skin goes translucent, you can see all the inside. That's okay.
Yeah, that's not technically violent because that's not a thing that happens.
This
Yeah,
is
it's
no
just-
different than what they
it's-
see in their biology book, so it's okay.
Yeah, everyone is in control of the situation. It's not a good situation, but you're in control of the situation. So yeah, but yeah, and then that ends, and then we get to wait for next episode. Hooray!
Yeah, I got the feeling that the first half was by the people who did last week's episode, and the second half was by maybe different people. I'm looking at what's been filled in so far on Anime News Network, and it does look like there's 2 animation directors on 28, and one of them also worked on 27. So that kind of
That would make sense if each guys did 2 longer episodes and they just kind of cross over there. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fun. And this, I'm gonna have to go back, as I say, go back and watch last week's episode and this episode again. I think to get my head around how not so much the stand in the last week's, it's more like how that dice game works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty old like Japanese dice game. There was like a story arc in Kaiji about it, and I vaguely recall how it works.
Yeah, I remember how it works from Kaiji, but when they got into like figuring out the cheating, it's like it got way too complex way too quickly.
They're fairly packed episodes, and one episode, it was fairly packed with like lots of stuff to take in. So I kind of enjoyed it for that. It always kept you on your toes,
And now it's time to crack on with the other 20 plus things we watched this week.
Maybe not quite all of them.
I think I got 19 things in, so.
Right.
I did not get near that much in, but I'll chip in whenever I can.
Sure.
Right, let me find my notes. Let's not get too deep into any of them.
Yeah.
I think would be the best way to deal with this.
If we have homes to go to. Families.
Wait, where were you recording?
We take it to
I'm on
the
a plane to
streets.
Singapore.
Okay, first up is Dragon Ball Super Episode 60, Back to the Future, Goku Black's true identity revealed.
Kind of, yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't quite expecting it, I'll give it that.
Now, it is within the rules of the universe because we have seen this thing happen before. So it's
fair.
the thing we really didn't figure was going to come up again.
Yeah, so basically the identity revealed is that it is it's Zamasu, isn't it? That's which one we're talking about. Yeah,
it's Zamasu again.
His first wish apparently was to swap bodies with Goku, and then he killed his old body with Goku's body.
But he must have done that at some other alternate timeline type situation.
Exactly.
Because obviously he's still there.
But yes, I assume they're going to explain this because they seem to be quite into explaining exactly how time works, as they do this episode.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time explaining. Sorry,
no, my bad. He's pulling a more advanced Ginyu, I suppose.
Yeah. What with the time travel rules in there?
Yeah, just make it more confusing.
Yeah. But they managed to squeeze in another meal. But most importantly, this episode, we learned that Goku has never kissed anybody.
That's like fucking mind-boggling. Yeah.
Despite fathering 2 children, he's never done that.
I love that. I love that going around. I saw that going around Twitter, and it was the best because you've got freaking Vegeta going, you're married. Come on, dude. And it's like, yo, like Vegeta's more of a romantic than you are, dude. Step it
again,
up.
just proving Vegeta's just a better husband, and everything else is just like, holy crap. Because when Goku's like, why? I don't see the correlation, and Vegeta's like, I'm not fucking explaining sex and kissing to you. That's not what I'm here for.
I looked up on Google image search Chi-Chi Goku kiss, and the only non-fan art image is a screenshot of Chi-Chi giving Goku a peck on the cheek.
I can
Many
remember,
questions.
I can remember seeing their wedding photos. Nothing in there to suggest that there was any kind of...
Yeah.
Oh.
Is Chi-Chi's religion against that or something? And Goku just never thought to ask?
A fucking dumbass.
I don't know, that or Chi-Chi is just like, nah, skip all that. Let's get to the real stuff. Da-da. And she's like just really aggressive or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Like
There's so many questions to be asked. And the other good thing
that
is...
will never be answered.
No, of course not.
Was he building this joke up for years now? That's the other thing that kind of boggles my mind. Is like, really, you've been planning this all this time?
Well, I think it's the idea that he's still the same innocent he was in like Dragon Ball Volume 1.
But he's had sex at least twice.
Well, has he? Artificial insemination exists.
Oh, damn that Capsule Corporation.
Also, Dragon Balls exist. Maybe he just wished them into
yeah.
existence.
Well, like maybe like Goten like looks exactly like him when he was a kid. Maybe kind of just sort of like a bacterium that's kind of divided, and here was Goten one day.
Are you
So
saying
you're saying Chi-Chi wished twice, and once she was said, I want a half Saiyan, half human. The second time was like, I just want a baby Goku.
Or like Goku underwent mitosis, which is arguably more confusing and terrible.
But he did that while he was dead. So
that is reasonable because his dad pretty much looks exactly like him as well.
That is true, yeah.
I think that like Toriyama just sort of looked back and thought this will be a funny gag, and then like it worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, Bulma got to go to the future with them because she didn't trust the pair of them to be able to fly the time machine back to the present.
Yeah, because they said, okay, because Vegeta goes like, okay, no more time travel after this because it's getting really fucking confusing. So, yeah, the plan was just for them to fly the time machine back.
I wonder if they'll find the Super Dragon Balls in the future and they'll wish the Earth in the future back to how it should be.
Back to the regular timeline.
Yes.
The change.
Or some sort of simulation thereof. Just bring everybody back to life and...
Yeah, okay.
Because we know that's been done once already in Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Actually, they have brought back one entire fucking Earth.
Yes.
Yeah. Make this timeline not shit.
Yes.
Make this timeline not shit and make all the nice people alive.
Yeah.
It's like when Trunks comes back and he like warns them and tries to save the day, but he still has to deal with all of their fallout in his own day to day. And he's amazingly still like chipper about this.
Yes. Well, he's got Mai.
For how long?
She keeps on almost dying, but she's still there. But they don't necessarily have to show us that. They could just show them giving Trunks the information on how to find the Super Dragon Balls.
Yeah, okay. That would be good.
Because we've still got that tournament to deal with all the other universes.
Like, I kind of forgotten about the tournament, what with all this time travel gods shenanigans.
And question as well, in Trunks' timeline, is there an alternate timeline, Beerus and Whis?
Yeah, but presumably they never came to Earth, right?
I guess so.
Or they got killed by...
Oh, I suppose that's true,
Zamasu.
Yeah. I mean, like, because all he'd have to do is kill the Kai of that universe.
Yeah.
Which seems to be the easiest way to do it.
Well, I suppose there's no tasty food in Trunks' like blasted future, so they saw no reason to come there.
I don't know. Yajirobe found 3 biscuits. Probably not a good enough reason to go to the planet. Yeah.
Yes, that's how they're going to win the fight, though, is because they got Yajirobe there to run around with beans, sticking them in people's mouths as he normally does.
Well, they've only got 4 beans left, and I figured they said that for a very specific reason.
Well, even half a bean would still heal you up completely, so they could just split
right,
up.
Yeah.
Right, next up, Thunderbolt Fantasy. Guys who watched it, finish it off.
Yeah. We talked about it after the show last week, so I'm got a bit confused.
Well, yeah, it's the last bit. Lin Zetsu has pulled out his sword because, hey, this pipe turned into a sword. How about that? He's going to face up against handsome Skeletor, and we're going to settle this like men. And also,
it's basically like a big long speeches, as this thing loves to do, where he's like, "Sure, why are you pulling out a sword on me? I'm fucking awesome at swords." And it's like, "Yeah, I'm so good at swords, I gave it up because it was boring."
Yeah.
Which I was just like, everyone's so cheap in this. I love it. And they start pulling out some crazy moves. Like you said last time, Elliot, about the he's basically like night crawling around with the sword thing. That was really sweet.
Yeah,
really
the whole fight was the whole fight was crazy sweet because it's just like the pair of them jumping around and like you think, oh, the Bones of Creation has totally got one up on this trickster like Lupin asshole, and then no, turns out he got bored of the sword and said, nah, this is why I went after people's like weird dark emotions because I thought it was more fun than trying to cut people up. And you get crazy like CG and stuff blowing up. And I think like one of the attacks like causes the atmosphere to ripple or something ridiculous because
there's a huge explosion that ejects into the atmosphere like a shot from space.
Yeah,
when I was just like, why? That was a really hard sword strike.
Yeah, when it went to like the shot from space, I'm like, what? And it was real good. Just like, oh, here's the Earth, and it's like, what is this? So yeah, they fight
to establish a thing later on in the thing that they are in space and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, odd establishing shot.
Yeah, so Bones of Creation kind of gets punked and is not in a good shot, but he can't really accept his defeat and says, okay, you know what? If I'm going to go down, I'm taking you all with me. And so he blows up the sword, the magical, important demon-like sealing sword, which... Oh, yeah, by the way, there is a demon god somewhere in the background being summoned by our succubus lass, who gets kind of consumed in the explosion as the demon god thing with like an upside-down face skull thing comes to life and is like, hey, I'm back. Yeah, time to murder the hell out of you.
Presumably she's fine because they said any demons that die just go back to Demon World. So the demons just, causing... slices and just wrecking forests and stuff in the background.
Yeah, like it's even in the first like 1 minute of this demon god being resurrected, it's like, wow, everyone's dead. Like this is really terrifying.
Well, the forests are dead in the mountains because
Yeah.
Did a few more explosives and charges to use on set for the end of the series. It is all up at once and blow up the set.
Yeah, they're like, let's just blow up all our sets. We've got to the end of recording, so we'll just blow up all our sets to get rid of it all.
We won't approve need again
wholeheartedly.
For season 2.
Yeah, we'll make some new sets to blow up. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it was fun anyway. But yeah, so our traveler dude, I forget. I think he comes across. I think he like quite talking to our sword sealing lass and now one-eyed spear dude, and he goes, "Well, I'll go sort this out. I guess someone's got to do it because good grief." And so he wanders off, and it turns out he's actually like the most OP of all of them.
Yeah,
because he has
he's been to level 20 at least 3 times at this stage because he's gathered all the legendary weapons for the laugh. Well, not for the laugh, to put them away somewhere safe.
Yeah, damn wizards keep making these things like, keep taking them off and putting them somewhere safe.
Yeah, that's pretty much the line he fucking says, which I thought was brilliant.
He said, I crossed that impossible to cross area because I thought I could dump all this stuff somewhere. Like he's in friggin' like Skyrim and wants to dump them at a nearby town or something. So he's just like, I want to keep them out of the hands of all the idiots back in my home country, but I guess I'm here. And then he pulls out this like weird crystal ass sword and basically
First, he pulls out a scroll that is filled with all the magic swords that he has, and then he scrolls through the scroll as if it's a fucking iPhone to find
it's great.
This one, which I thought was fucking brilliant. I was just like, God damn, you're so cheap.
Plus that scroll is flying all over him. It's like this crazy 3-dimensional friggin' thing, and he's just like, nah. Oh, this one's a jerk move, and he just picks it out, and it's this weird blue ass dumb like popsicle stick thing.
I thought he was kind of more like a plumber. It's like going to say, no, demon god, I see. Oh, there's a problem right there. That's going to need like a 3/4 inch like rapier to take care of that thing. That'll sort of piss it up right for you right there. Okay.
Let's see.
It's great because
one of them swords with the pop out blades on the side.
Yeah, it's great because while he's doing this, the demon god is like, hey, demon god, come on, knock it off. Like, pay attention to me before I utterly annihilate you. And he's like, not so much. And basically punks the living crap out of her. Which, I would feel cheaped out of, but we just had that sweet fight for the entire first half of the episode with like Bones of Creation and Lupin asshole, so Lin Setsu, and it's like, okay, this is fine. So he doesn't kill the demon god, but he
I think he pulled it into a black hole because they keep mentioning space, and the demon god's like, "What is this blackness? This is not the demon realm." And it's like, and he's like, "Oh, it's trapped in space now."
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I sent it to the far end of the galaxy, but don't let the sword get pulled out for the next 100 years because its magic is still weak. After that, you're fine." And so Sword Lass gets right back to her job that she missed so much, which is guarding a sword for 100 years. Yeah. And in the space of like a week, she's already whipped Spear Dude into being a prospective like submissive husband, and is beating the crap out of him with a stick. Saying no, you
like
must
a
learn.
tutor sort of thing. Yeah, which is
she's like, he's like, can I use my spear? And she's like, no, you must learn my sword techniques. This is my family you're in now. You got to do this right. And he's like, ah. So, and then she's like, your son would be disappointed. So, you know, she's already like pinned him down at some point, I guess.
A stick is fine. Like we've seen what a stick can do in the right hands.
Exactly, and she's just whacking him on the shin with it. So
that was a great. Blow me up, please.
Yeah, it was pretty great watching those two have very, very early marital like bliss, I suppose. So our Wanderer dude sees this, goes yay, and then wanders off quietly. Lin Setsu goes, hey, you want to join up with me? And it's like, no. And then like our Wanderer dude gives that back his umbrella to the Buddha he stole it off of in the first episode.
Here's your payment. One umbrella.
He was like a really cool movement. It's like, I guess it's going to be a big storm. And it better be no good to me here. Swoosh, and it lands perfectly on the shrine, the Buddha shrine.
I have to admit, I kind of clapped at that because I was just laughing at how absurd that little sort of flourish was. It's just like, well done, show. Like, good job.
I thought it was pretty.
It's the flourish. It's the poem that they use to describe it as well.
Yeah, that entire bit was great because it's a great blow off of like, oh, he just punked everyone, and then it's like, oh, to be continued in season 2. So they're getting more of Thunderbolt Fantasy, I guess. Although I have no idea what they're going to do now because
what's
everyone
the upper
is
limit. They have to start fighting in space now. That's the only way I say they can increase this thing.
I think they have to basically go to the other land or something because they like most of the main cast are now too strong or dead. So
yeah, so he has to have ran from some people who might actually be a viable threat.
Yeah, because like, well, you just have a different threat, or like, or just time skip it. I don't know, Christ, jump 98 years in the future to like grandson or something.
When your man Lin Setsu says, no, if a guy's going to carry around like a bag full of like super swords, that's going to attract a lot of attention from villains, but more than likely. So I better be around because it's going to be fun. I kind of like Lin Setsu's whole thing of like, I'm a guy who goes around to 12 evil schemes and 40 villains now. Not because of any kind of monetary fame or glory. I just love winding them up. My best a big wind-up merchant.
Yeah. It's the series has been really fun. It's so like out of its way, goes out of its way to be like cheesy as heck and cheap as heck with the characters and stuff. But it's so much fun in the way it does it, you know.
It's great because like, you know, I remember, you know, quite a few episodes back is when Lin Setsu's master's coming, and you're like, that's a fancy puppet. And then, like you said at the time, like a more fancy puppet turns up, and you're like, "Oh no,
that guy's fucked."
Yeah, this has gone. You know, I mean, even the death of the screaming Phoenix Killer was so rad in this show. But yeah, like it's just so off the chain about everything it does, and of course you've got like the friggin' like Suwano soundtrack like doing backflips somewhere. Which just really brings it all out. So yeah, I love this. I really enjoyed this show. It was really good fun to watch. I kind of can't wait to see what they do with the second season. But yeah, great stuff.
Talking of things that are really fun to watch, was I the only person who watched HEYBOT episode 3?
I watched it.
Oh.
Why, Dwayne?
Because I'm far too patient with you, Brian.
This was a lot better than episode 1 and 2.
I mean, like, it's a lot better, but I feel like it's not as bad because I've become immune.
But no, it was definitely different. It felt like they'd been listening to the podcast. No, literally, things we were complaining about, because literally one of the things we said last week, that there was a joke which they should have expanded on. They did. Half of the episode was pretty much entirely dedicated to expanding that one joke, which is the idea of those other characters thinking they were the main characters.
Yeah, they made better shonen protagonists.
Yes, and they basically they face off against the main character in a competition, the reward of which is to become the main character, and he loses. And the other good thing is, we know in this episode we didn't see the losing stand-up comedy. It would just do a smash cut, and you'd see whoever lost looking depressed because they lost this stand-up comedy fight.
Which is kind of good because it does make more sense because they're showing you a bad joke, right? But then they have to show you a bad joke that is shitter than the first bad joke.
Yes.
So you know that one's worse. And I'm just like, I don't want to watch a shitty. It's enough to watch a bad joke. I have to watch the shitty version of that.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
So yeah, the reason he hasn't got a screw which will give him an impact type joke. We learn about the 4 different types of screws and how they relate to different types of comedy. This episode
what's the different fucking comedy? It's impact is one.
There's
clever.
It's like is it physical, verbal, surreal, and impact?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because
Yeah.
physical comedy being different than a cleverly put together thing. Yeah.
And they
Although I think all the fucking screws are random. I'll be honest with you.
I'm not even sure we've seen a surreal screw yet either.
Jesus.
I know. So they've got to look for this green screw, and they run across a woman who's got a rusty green screw. Who wants
woman, Brian, not a specific character from a beloved horror series.
Okay, she's called Sadaka. And then the second half is basically a Ring parody.
Yeah.
And it has a great Ring joke, which I'm sure somebody must have made before, because I cannot understand. This can't be the first time that joke's come up. The idea of there being loads of wells and her popping out like a whack-a-mole.
I'm not sure
It
if I've ever
seems so
seen that.
obvious. Somebody else must have done it. But I was pleased to see it in this, because that was the first time I'd seen it done.
So her
Maybe-
tragic
maybe-
character back. Oh, sorry, go on.
Maybe they had just seen the Ring and thought, "Oh, this is funny."
Yeah.
I did somehow just missed out on that whole phenomenon the last 10, 15 years.
Well, there's a good jokes about the American remake in there as well.
Oh, they do take the piss out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a gag about her. The well isn't where she's. It's her love. What's she call it?
Like a love shack or something.
Yeah, it's
something
like a
similar.
love hideaway. Or
Yeah.
because she's in love with this other screwbot who's got all rusty. Because they were
But
playing
basically,
at the beach.
they met on the beach, and she was being a creepy. She was being Sadako at the fucking beach, and everyone was just creeped out by it. But the robot was really into it, or something.
Something like that. But it turns out at the end that he was just into any woman apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I saw. They've been listening to the podcast. They finally, and then I looked at the credits, and it was a different writer this week. So
Right.
That was. So I'm like, oh, is that just a guest writer? And it's going to be back to the other guy next week. Because this made me think, I'm going to carry on watching it.
Well, now we gotta test it and
I
say,
know.
hey, bot committee, if you're listening, hire the Mr. Osamatsu writers. that would be a gasser.
They're too
Yeah.
busy on other things, though.
Yeah.
Well,
This-
one of them
Hey.
was busy on everything last season.
They can fit one more thing in. They've already done that many.
Like this show had me thinking, like, do I hate random humor? And I was like, no, I fucking love Osamatsu. So that can't be it.
But no, this is definitely a much better episode.
Better structured, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah. And
But still not good.
You see, yeah. But I could watch something and appreciate the structure to the point. Yeah. So bizarrely, we've gone from the guy who wrote the '90s Berserk anime to the guy who wrote Gankutsuo, the Count of Monte Cristo, wrote this episode.
Okay.
The Laugh Riot, if ever I saw.
Yes. Two people well known for their comedy. I'm sure he's done other things as well, but it's amusing to point those things out. On to Bono episode 13. Scary Ideas Are Scary. Coincidentally, the subtitle of the Conservative Party conference this week.
Oh, God. Topical humor.
Oh, you knocked that one out of the park, man. You saving that one.
I have, yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. So the main takeaway from this episode is that the put-away man will come and put you away.
That's
Like,
actually,
I
again,
find
in
out what that
line
meant.
with Conservative Party politics.
I suppose, yeah, that's true. Oh, dear. So Bono found it's like a stick, but
Yes.
not quite a stick.
Or a bone, or unknown.
It's a bit of
Could
floppy
be
seaweed thing. I'm not sure what it is.
A very rigid eel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And he has some fun with it, and then he puts it in his home, which is just leaning it against a tree. And then the next morning it's gone, and then he has all these panic attacks about what's happened to it, but each time it leads to the idea that this person who we've never seen before, called the Put-Away Man, will,
We've seen him in the end credits.
yes,
Yeah.
will basically come and take him, put him in a cave, and then basically put him inside like a cube made of rocks.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, I just have to put you away. He just leads him off by the hand. Bono goes willingly in all these scenarios. And it's just like, what is this? What is this terrifying concept you've come up with, Bono?
So this is my
Like,
first
Bono,
episode.
Bono.
Yeah,
This is my first episode of Bono Bono, and I was expecting you guys to tell me who the Put-Away Man is, but now it's just like, oh, okay, it's just a weird, like, very professional, like, dude who wants to put you in a cave. So what?
No, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's just something Bono's come up with it in his own head, because the
Yeah.
character design is kind of a combination of Fishing Cat and the Fennel Fox character, who we've not.
Oh, the one
really
who keeps kicking him.
and that's Raccoon. That is.
Oh, okay. He's an arsehole.
He is, yes.
Yes.
That's his character.
But the thing about this series is they make no attempt to properly introduce any character, presuming that you're already familiar with all the characters and you're just watching a cartoon based on your favourite characters. But yeah, I quite like this episode. I liked his weird fantasies, particularly when how he imagined the stick swimming.
Just sort of spins.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a rollerblade, yeah.
I think I like the bit with where he goes to Raccoon, asks him, "Hey, do you know what happened to Stick?" And he's like, "No." And he goes and asks everyone else, and then he comes back to Raccoon, and he's really pissed off about it because it's kind of like, seriously, dude, did you fucking steal my stick?
Like Raccoon was up on one thing. Like, what's happened to the stick? And it did this thing, and this, and this thing. It's that bit kind of funny and weird. It's like, well, ha, ha, ha. It would be kind of weird. Ha, ha. And it would be kind of this weird laughing thing together. It's like, why are you laughing more than if I don't then?
Yeah, there's some good bits in this one.
Next up on the animal shorts front, Cheese Sweet Adventure, which you can watch on Amazon Prime UK. Who watched this?
I did.
I did, but I can't remember any of it.
It has the best opening of the year
I
so
agree.
far.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah.
It's pretty well animated as well. It's
Yes,
The
that's
frame
the
rate
main-
still
my main
put me off a
takeaway.
little bit. Yeah, the frame rate is still weirding me out a bit, but it is really well animated.
I'm talking specifically about the OP, where they've got all those
Oh.
other animators in to do various bits. It feels like the way that the Koji Nanke openings for Urusei Asura did. It's like, you know, the show's not going to look exactly the same as the opening, but it puts you in such a good mood that
Yeah, yeah.
you want to watch the show. Yeah, and I think this is this the best 3D CG TV anime in terms of animation?
It's got to be up there. Like
Yeah.
the human guys aren't as well animated as the cats, but I noticed that they're like the lip sync was fucking flawless on them, and I was just like, wow, that's quite impressive.
I noticed that there's no. It's like Nyanbo. It's kind of like in this weird international world. There's nothing to say this is Japan or any country really.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the keyboard's got no markings on it. There's like very basic English words when you see a book. But story-wise, it's 10 minutes of chi, pretty much. And the question is whether 10 minutes of chi is too much chi.
Did you felt it dragged a little bit, or
I would argue so, because by like 5 minutes in, I was starting to kind of fade out. Or just, you know, I like Chi a great deal, but like I was flagging. It's like, oh man, this is really cute and this is all really nice and I like all of it, but man, I kind of want to just like press the back button right now. So
That does seem awfully long. There isn't like a supporting cast you can kind of fall back on to give it a bit more legs. For instance, in Gomen-chan.
right.
Yeah, because before it was like daily short episodes, wasn't it, on the previous two series?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not 5 minutes long, are they?
Yeah, they're like maybe 3 minutes, just 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But again, they kind of sometimes would tell a story across the week.
Yeah.
Whereas this was telling 2 stories, I think. It's generally one story, but it
kind of like the one story of it, but just the second part of it.
Basically,
he starts
the
outside.
humans don't want to play with Chi. Chi gets in a strop, wanders off, says she's not going to go home, and then the black cat sort of just says, okay, fair enough, I'm going to go home and eat my dinner. And then she's like, dinner. And then decides to go home after all.
a very cat-like behaviour.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's clear, like, in the first half, they're all setting something up for Chi, but obviously the cat doesn't fucking know that.
Yes. A 1-month anniversary. Which
they're really into the cat. Like, they're very cat-focused.
Has created a lot of debate on Twitter, I saw, of people going, how does this fit into Chi continuity?
It's the 1-month anniversary. It's fucking simple.